Let's try to register on Subnet 22 where we as miners need to scrape Twitter information and have all sorts of scrapers in place to provide the proper data for users that hit Desearch's endpoints. I'm actively a Desearch endpoint user. I'm one of their clients. I actually have my card topped up to their service. Shout out to Subnet 22. They're the social data providers that make these newsletters possible on Tower Radar and that summarize a bunch of things for my Discord channels. I love that subnet, so let's try mining it. But the catch is that this time you guys will see me setting up a live agent to mine, loop, and iterate over time and optimize its workings to mine Subnet 22. I'll be sharing any optimizations and findings I have in my mining channel inside of my Discord. Let's get to it. You can type interserver.net, go to Cloud VPS, click VPS home, slide down and buy right here. Probably 4 or 8 slices is enough to actually run the miner. A link is in the description if y'all want to buy these. I genuinely love this bare metal or cloud VPS provider because I'm a user. They let you pay in crypto. They have a really good chat service where they answer 24/7 really quickly. And I've had issues that have been resolved very nicely and professionally. So yes, it's an affiliate, but I am actually a real satisfied user because I pay them in crypto, in Bitcoin, and I love this. So to buy it, you just click that. It's going to take you to the checkout page. You just configure everything here. You click Premium VPS because this is what it's for. You slide down, select your location, pick the closest to you, and you can click 3 or 4 slices. You see the price, continue, and you just follow the steps. Don't forget to select your operating system, Ubuntu, and your version 24.04. Select this one. And don't forget to copy right here your root password, save it in a notepad. Revenue will be used to buy back and burn their alpha token. The next thing you're going to do is a folder on your desktop called SN Mining. Open it and whatever subnets you try mining, dump these GitHub repos inside of this larger folder for you to have an organized view of all your miners, your local testings, if you need to change miner files. But you guys need to understand a prerequisite. I've actually brainstormed, what are all the things we need to do to successfully mine on Subnet 22? What makes a miner good? What makes a miner bad? How do you get paid? As you can see right here, you get paid by providing X search endpoints and providing AI search endpoints in a fast, balanced, or slow deep mode. So these are the things we're going to have to crack and provide the proper data for the endpoint users and when validators query us. These are the payout splits right now. In this file, I've noticed that Desearch pays out to miners $1,000 a day, and 90% of that comes from AI search provisions from our miners, and 10% of that from raw tweet JSON outputs. Y'all can subscribe to my private group, head on over to Mining Chat, and the full setup is here for you guys to dump into AI to get a speed run of golden nuggets. But obviously I want these videos to be shorter. I can't explain every little detail, so we are starting out with a baseline of knowledge. And on top of that, my partner, which I'm partnered with, sent me a zip file of optimized Subnet 22 mining. So this is what we're going to parse with AI, feed it to the AI agent and see what he comes up with, if he registers, if he's able to successfully scrape Twitter. And I'm assuming in a few weeks, we are going to optimize the balanced, fast, and deep search modes. So this is the plan for the upcoming weeks. If you go to the Desearch console and you click AI search, you can type, for example, what are the best business ideas? And you can toggle fast, balanced, or deep. So this is what I would need to do under the hood and provide that information, to the person asking it. So for example, what is Bittensor? Fast mode and on X, okay, balanced mode. Boom, as you can see, a miner directly started working. This is the JSON file, building visual answer. Bittensor is a decentralized network of machine intelligence where participants can contribute AI models and computing power. So we just made a miner work under the hood, and this is exactly what I need to configure with this zip file that I showed you guys right here. Boom. So an agent needs to understand all of this with my brainstorm MD file that I showed you guys for us to provide that type of data. So guys, I am in my coding ID with all the GitHub's subnet 22 files. If you type sn22/AI, you're gonna see these files right here. You can download them really easily right here in a zip file, right here, download zip. And my buddy, obviously I'll blur out his name and everything, but he sent me an optimized zip folder that I put in a file and I open in my coding ID so we can get the prompting to get to the bottom of how to mine, either locally or if I need to buy a Linux box right away, we'll see. So this is something you should definitely be able to do as a beginner miner. Put the files locally on your PC and start prompting with Claude if you should test locally or on the box, because this is Windows, Bittensor is Linux. You should understand these things, how to set up your testing environment. All right, so this is my prompt. As you can see, it is pretty huge. So let's send that out. I'm going to read you the coolest parts of the prompt at first. So I sent him the brainstorm MD pathway, so he reads it. I sent him Desearch's base miner GitHub. I sent him Desearch's website as well for him to fetch even more context. And I told him, I need you to compare what my friend optimized compared to the base miner so I understand what he did. And I told him, you need to make me understand that we will be skipping Apify. For those of you who don't know, the base miner that Desearch suggests for us to mine with is Apify. You basically plug your miner into this. This scrapes for you and it returns the answers to the validators. But obviously this has a cost. We need to take into account multiple residential IP addresses, Twitter burner accounts, cookies, proxies, IP rotations, rate limitations. Basically, we need to build our own in-house proprietary Desearch scraper so we can scrape at a lower cost, so we can have a profit on the alpha earned. Like I said, Desearch is tiny and they burn 50% of their miner rewards because they determined that. So we only have a pool of about 5 tau per day to compete with. So you guys need to be cost conscious. So that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. And I told them my only goal is to see if my friend has a ready-made scraper for me that I can test, but you need to tell me, can I test it locally on my Windows PC? Is it ready? Can I connect to the subnet easily? Or I need to buy the box that I mentioned the other day. So now it's really searching. I'll pause the screen right here. So your goal in order, this is very important for you guys to read to understand how I talk to AI. Very interesting. So this is the work that has been preemptively done on this optimized miner. So we cut out all 3 paid vendors such as Apify, Scraping Dog, and the other base miner API keys. Built our own X scraper from scratch. So my partner built something from scratch that I'm going to have to replicate here locally. Have the validators give us some questions, some fake synthetic questions, see how we respond with the current code, and just share a GitHub and optimize it with him from there. That is the whole plan. This whole point of this video is to launch this miner here locally without connecting to the subnet and seeing how the validators grade us, and to get a self score. So we would need to add some scripts right here that start the miners, ping the validators, get the questions, run the real functions, get the real math formulas. So read it right here. It's an important part of this video. But as a beginner miner, you need to understand how to test things synthetically and locally with the validators. You need to understand how to role play with the validators on your Windows machine fast. We don't have time to test things for weeks on end. So what we need to do right now is create a virtual environment. AI did it for me in 30 seconds and added all the requirements and dependencies to locally test validators and miners, have like a little role play going on, and have the validators send us questions, run real math functions onto our responses. Because as a Desearch miner, your main goal is to provide a tweet or an AI summary with all the proper fields that the validator asks for. It is probably buried deep into the code here somewhere, and it's around 37 things that the validator asks for. And right now with our current code, I did a small test. We have 12 fields missing. So obviously right here, it needs some optimization. So these are all the pip installations that we need. So just copy that and say, put that in the venv for me. So it's going to put these libraries and packages right here. We don't need to run these commands on the terminal. So as you can see, all the files are here in local testing. It generated 5 files. This is to test, if our optimized scraper works locally and can fetch real tweets. This is the py file that will actually compute what the validators grade us, to run the miner, to run the validator, and to show us the score. So right now it's testing a bunch of things. It's missing the Apify API key, which I will add later for the validators to grade our tweets. So yeah, this is what local mining looks like. The AI does everything and you just guide it and you verify what it does. Claude Codes' agentic tool calling and testing under the hood improved so much compared to maybe 1 or 2 years ago. And it does things, it replicates environments, it does workarounds so smartly nowadays that you can achieve a lot in just a few hours. This is actually insane. I asked in a separate chat while it was testing, give me the validator schema that they asked us as miners for, me to understand how to construct my responses. And it drew me a huge, precise folder that you can, dump into AI. I'm going to try to show it as much as I can. You can pause the screen, have AI rewrite it for you. And what I basically did is I copied that and I saved all of its contents right here. So I can, ask AI anytime to look in Brainstorm MD and, know the perfect validator schema to get a high score. So just create an API key from Apify. That way you can add it to your environment folder and validators would be able to test you better. That's the simplest way. So add it right here. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of testing. I am interested to test with many different terminals. As you can see, validator, miner, and scorer. We need to run start Python commands on each one of them and have a score at least higher than 0.3 because that's what my friend let me at for X search. So to be simple and in plain English, the only thing we're testing right now is validator sending us locally real tweet requests and seeing if our miners buried somewhere in the code here are able to fetch a real tweet from Twitter with our current optimized code, return something, respect the JSON schema I showed you earlier, and get a score of higher than 0.3 printed on the terminal. Remember that all of this is local. It is role-playing as a Bittensor miner effectively for free. Okay, this is actually crazy. We are using something called Nitter to bypass X and get the tweet data. And I just went on their website and they got a cease and desist letter by X literally yesterday. So these are some more optimizations that I need to do because my friend dropped me the optimized zip on August 19th. Everything was good, but now, yeah, I think we need to implement some changes. So guys, for reference, I didn't run the terminal commands myself because it's too long and useless. I just said to AI, run this, and he tested 2 real hard-coded tweets seen right here, a tweet from the Open Tensor Foundation and the all-time tweet number 20 when Jack Dorsey said, just setting up my Twitter. And the reason we hard-coded tweets is just to see our JSON response relate to the validators to have a mock score. And as you can see, drum roll, we actually have a slightly better schema. Our score went from 0.3 to 0.43. They fetched these 2 hard-coded tweets and they benchmarked what I returned to them for X search based off of their real rules. So this is a first step forward. We are improving our JSON schema. And as you can see, the problem and the table of things that are missing, we don't have proper date formats. We're missing 12 author fields, we're missing reviews, bookmark counts, conversation IDs, all sorts of things. And it even proposed me a quick fix. And right here at the bottom, it said, want me to fix the date format bug, and the mapper now should move the score up. And I literally just said, yes, fix it for me, and retest it again, redraw me this cheat sheet table to see if anything else is missing. So let's see what he comes up with. Perfect, guys. I think we are approaching this maybe part one of the search miner optimization video. As you can see, our second prompt to optimize our X searching went from 0.4 to over 0.6, and you need 0.6 or more to earn on this search. So at least locally with the 2 hard-coded tweets, this search is saying we are good enough to earn, and our pool score went from 0 to 0.23, a giant increase. We'll see what that means maybe in a future video, but as you can see, I still have 13 checks still missing for X search. So that means when I'm returning a response to the validator, 13 schema points are missing, and these are the things I have to optimize that are a bit harder for now, and AI can't get them in one shot, but we optimize a lot right here, like profile image, username, the easy fields to get that are publicly available. And afterwards, I asked him, can you please optimize my AI search, because we need our miner to be able to search and summarize things with AI based off of the queries of actual clients. And it built me 2 new files. So free web search that works with Bing to fetch the sources, because with AI search, you need to fetch your sources is what the validators ask. And test web search. But the problem is that we asked how are companies approaching AI regulations, and it returned currently in its current format irrelevant sources that skewed our score. We also asked what is Bittensor and how does it work, and it returned 5x profile pages, the Bittensor OpenTensor profile pages, instead of an article explaining Bittensor. So our X search needs a lot of work. Currently, the big part of the emissions we can't really earn. But I'm gonna put y'all on some game right now. What I plan to do is just summarize the article with shoots and have it self-hosted on my own URL as a source to trick the validators to say that this is a real source and pass, because I don't care about web articles. AI already knows what is Bittensor and things like that. So we can self-host our own links to pass that. We don't need actual link fetchings that cost money. Amazing, guys. So as you can see, what did I add on top of his existing code? I basically optimized the X search JSON schema output to validator and ran a few tests. I tried building a version 1 of the AI search, but it needs a lot of optimizations. Y'all can read what is still broken. Comment down below if y'all want a part 2 of this, showing my live journey as to profiting from SN22 mining. And now I asked AI to create and push a new GitHub repo for me called SN22 Miner, which I will be adding my friend in settings as a collaborator so he can work with his own agent, submit pull requests, and us together working and seeing what we merge together on main branch. This is how you work together as a mining team. It is freaking insane. And as you can see, I have 18 repos. If I refresh, I'm probably going to be at 19. There you have it. If you click repos, SN22 miner, it is private and all the files are here. You can go to settings right here and add your friend and collaborators here, and both of you would be able to submit pull requests. So it's going to take a few weeks for me and my friend to understand everything we must do, but we are determined to get paid. I'll catch you guys in part 2.